What if I told you that the average person will spend around 20 years of their life glued to a screen? 20 years of scrolling, texting, emailing, gaming. How does this make you feel? And what if I gave you a guaranteed extra 20 years of life? Would you choose to spend it on your screen?
It's estimated that 3.26 billion people in the world are using their screens every day. It's the age we live in, and for my generation, it's all that we know. But if your time was running out and you only had a year left to live, would you think differently about screen time? Are you using your time wisely?
Let's find out with a short activity. Can I ask you to stand up if you have your phone on you today? It's probably in your bag or your pocket. And you might have the frequent urge to check it, even whilst we're talking. We're addicted to our phones, to the rush of dopamine we get when there's a message or notification. It makes us feel wanted and special. Please stay standing for the next bit.
Over lunch break, you were asked to check your screen time for the last week. If your screen time is under 5 hours, you may sit down. Let's take a look around. If your screen time was 5 to 8 hours, you may sit down. If your screen time was 8 to 12 hours, sit down. Those left standing over 12 hours, that's half of the whole day just staring at your phone. That doesn't include any other screens you've got in your day-to-day life, your laptop, your TV, your video games.
And we're the same.
My screen time for last week was 49 hours, and I picked up my phone 2,124 times with 3,218 notifications, all from last week.
My screen time for the last week was 32 hours.
My screen time for the last week was 48 hours.
And my screen time for the last week was 58 hours. The average age for a child to get their first phone is 10 years old. And the average screen time for a teenager is 8 hours and 37 minutes per day. Does this sound like you or your child? Why are parents giving their children phones at such a young age? Is it lazy parenting?
I was 3 when I got my first phone to watch things like YouTube Kids. The most used apps for teens today are Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok and YouTube. Raise your hands if you or your children use these apps every day. If you're a parent, do you even know what they're looking at, who they're talking to? Ask yourself if your child is spending more time on a phone than talking to you.
We're here to ask you today, parents, teens and children, reduce your screen time by at least an hour each day. Look up, live in the real world, feel the benefits of human connection. Everyone I walk past the school always got their phone out, whether they're allowed or not. It's normal for us to sit in a group and text on our phones. We might even text each other rather than speaking.
We live in a world that's ruled and connected by technology. We're asking you to recognise when your screen time is too much and to make the choice to do something about it. You don't need your phone at the dinner table. Look up and speak to your family. Smile at each other and ask each other how you're doing. You might be surprised.
You don't need to take selfies for social media everywhere you go. Look up and use your senses to live in the moment for yourself, not for likes.
Do any of these stories sound appealing? This is what addiction does to us. Studies show that using smartphones activates the same pleasure centre in our brains as using cocaine and other addictive drugs. So when you give your child a phone, you are creating their first addiction.
We're asking you to reduce your screen time by at least an hour a day.
Starting now.
Every time you feel the urge to pick up your phone, recognise it's your addiction talking.
You don't need to text the person sitting next to you. Look up and speak to them, read their facial expressions, and you'll see so much more than you can in a text. Choose to live in the real world, connect with the people around you, and be a real-life role model for the next generation. Thank you for listening.